He'll soon be taking the screen. Just before that, some basic ground rules. If you want to ask a question, please put your name in the chat box. Once I take your name, then you ask a question. So we maintain order that way. All right, I'm going to hand over the stage to our head coach.
Afternoon all.
So yeah, I think we already have a couple of people waiting to ask questions. First up, I have Shashwat. Shashwat, do you want to
go? Good afternoon, coach. So we all know how Mumbai City performed last season. They are the champions. They won the league shield as well. And there was a very distinct style that Sergio Lobera implemented last season. So from your perspective, what has this pre-season given you an idea about how are you going to continue this style, or if there are any changes? So give us a little idea about your philosophy.
Yeah, I think the first thing is to recognise the excellent work that Sergio and the team did last year. You know, they achieved things that this club has never achieved. So that was the first thing I spoke to the group about when I came in. And it's important to reflect upon that because we wanted to highlight some of the good work that had taken place last year because we don't want to throw that away. It's very important that what's gone before us, we take with us this year. That's off the field and on the field. So in terms of the playing style, I watched all of the games last year. It was a very exciting brand of football and attacking football that was put in place by Sergio and his team. And that's something that really strikes true to my philosophy. And it's something that I'm trying to now add to, not change, but actually add to continue playing a very similar way that you would have seen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashwat. Just a second. We have Sayan from TV9. Hey, Sayan, you can ask a question.
Hi, coach. Welcome to India. And what is your initial opinion of the Indian players that you have in your squad? One, and when you were interviewed for the job, what was the brief that was given to you by the Mumbai City management?
Yeah, my first impressions of Indian players and Indian football wasn't this year. It was back in 2018 when I came over as the assistant coach to the senior team with New Zealand football. And we actually played in the Hero Intercontinental Cup where New Zealand played India at the Mumbai Arena. So that was my first kind of taste and induction into Indian football. And when the opportunity came up to come here, of course, I looked at the squad and I looked at the squad that was being assembled for this year. And the players that we certainly have here, you know, we have a good mix of ages and experiences. But the Indian players we have, I'm very, very happy with. We've got very good young players coming through. And that's, again, a bit of a background that I have working with those types of players. And we also have some excellent senior players, both Indian and foreign as well. So that's been, I'm very happy with what we have. And what was the second part to the question?
And when were you interviewed for the job? What was the basic idea given to you, and what were the expectations from you, from the management, from the Mumbai City management?
Yeah, it was just a continuation, really, of what we, you know, the club's been in existence for 7 years now. You know, this will be year 8, season 8 for us into this, and there's been a lot of people and a lot of players and supporters that have added to what we see or this team do last year onto the field, which was led by Sergio and obviously the team that achieved that success. So it was about harnessing that, but building upon that and trying to now continue adding success, both in terms of how we want to play, in terms of a playing style. And now we've got the task of retaining both of the trophies that the club won last year.
One last question, if I may add. This year, Mumbai is also going to participate in the Champions League, in the AFC Champions League, as well as the ISL. So both are very, very different tournaments. One is the continental one, a lot tougher than ISL. So how will you segregate between the two? Because we have seen it gets difficult for Indian clubs to segregate and participate in the two tournaments simultaneously.
Yeah, I think there's only been one that's gone before us, so we're only the second.
Right.
So it's, you know, the first thing we need to focus on is not turn our attention too far away from the league. You know, the league starts in a couple of days' time, and our first game is next Monday. So our attention and our focus is very much on Goa and Goa only at the moment. Champions League will take place, and we finish where we did last year. That's put us into the group stage. So it is a very good competition, and one we're really excited and looking forward to. But we need to make sure that we focus on our league and what we want to do here first. And then the Champions League will start at the back end of our season here. So the season will finish in March, and the expectation is that Champions League will be in May. So we'll have some time to address and look at that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We got Joel from HalfwayFootball. Joel?
Hi, Coach. First of all, welcome to India. So my first question is, you joined the team almost a month ago, and the club has played almost a few friendly games. So how satisfied are you with the pre-season preparations till now?
How satisfied are you with the pre-season preparations? Super.
I'm as happy as I can be. I think we've done everything that we could have done. Coming from the moment I stepped into the bubble here in Goa, the facility that we have and the work that's gone on behind the scenes to set the environment up here has been fantastic. From where we're staying to the facilities we have to the staff that we have around the complex, they've gone above and beyond to make me personally feel welcome firstly, but to allow the players to settle. We have players that have joined us at different times throughout the quarantine period, but I think that's the case for every club in the league. So in terms of settling and what we have available to us, I'm very happy with what we've been able to do in the timeframes that we've had.
Okay, one last question. You are coming from A-League to ISL. So what are the main differences and similarities of these two leagues, according to you?
Yeah, I think the A-League is a very similar concept as to where I think the ISL is now, where it's a couple of years older. The season now goes on for longer periods, but that's taken time to get it to that stage. And with that now becomes more games and more training and more opportunities to get players fitter and sharper, and they're able to attract different types of players as a result. So that's the big thing for me that I've seen coming here. It's a shortened season, a shortened pre-season as a result of that. But in terms of the quality of the players, especially from the experience I've had only with our squad, there's not a huge gap. And that's what's been really pleasing when I've came in. It's more the length of time that we're able to have access to the players.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you, Coach.
Moving to Anand from Sportskeeda.
Yeah, hello, Coach. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay, great. I wanted to ask you, a part of the question was from the previous question, but I wanted to ask you, with your experience from the A-League and international football, how do you think that will serve you while you're here at the ISL? That's my first question. I'll ask the second one after.
Yeah, I'm 36, so I was told I was the youngest coach going into this season. But I've coached for 19 years, and of the last 10 years, that's been in the senior space, under 23s, both at senior club level at Wellington Phoenix, and obviously at the A-League season last year, and then on the international stages. So I've been fortunate to work full time for 19 years in the game. So I don't think it will just be the A-League experiences that will help me here. I've worked with some fantastic people: Chris Wilder, the old Premier League manager in Sheffield United, Ernie Merrick in Wellington, and a whole host of others that have helped guide and shape who I am and how I operate. What's been really pleasing is I've experienced different cultures. I left the UK at 29. I moved to New Zealand. I've spent 5 years there and embraced the culture and the different ways of working, both life-wise and football. Obviously done the same in Australia, and that was one of the exciting prospects around coming to join India and Indian football, was to build on the experiences I had back in 2018.
Thank you. And my second question was about what you spoke about earlier, about how the season in India is a little shorter, which effectively means the post seasons are a little longer. So the breaks between seasons of the ISL is quite long. So do you think that kind of has affected your preparation for the new season?
No, it's where the league is at right now. It's in its 8th season. It's extended already from what was a 2 month, 3 month competition now into nearly a 6-7 month one, which includes Champions League. So it's a league that's still growing, but the way it's growing and how fast it's growing is really exciting to see. So I don't see that as a problem. I see that as a really exciting time to be involved in Indian football.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Anand. Harsh from IFEWC.
Yeah, hi coach. I hope you're having a great time in India. You're quite well known for working with youth players and developing them in your career. And Mumbai is having a lot of young players with the likes of Apuya, Vikram, Nawaz. So these are quite well-known Indian young players. So can we see a more youth-oriented setup from you in Mumbai this year, with you playing the young players a lot more?
Yeah, I've got a lot of experience, especially recently, of working with youth, especially at the 23s age group. So it was exciting to watch the three players we had from the club go to the under-23s championship, and I see the success that they all had. I think the most important thing in senior club football is that the players are very clear on how we want to do what we do, and then how they can contribute and work towards adding value on the pitch towards that. And for me, that doesn't matter if you're 18 or 19. All the way through to our oldest player in Eagle at 37. So it's about making sure that the players are very clear on how we do what we do, and then how they fit and work within that system. And whether that's, a Navas, like you've mentioned already, or one of the more senior players, it's my job then to try and select the best team for each game to try and get the success that we want.
Right. Thank you, coach.
Thanks, Ash. We've got Shane from Sports Lumo.
Hi, first off, hope I'm audible. And secondly, coach, I just need to know, how happy are you with the squad that you have? And do you think there'll be any more signings coming? And more importantly, how happy are you in terms of the way the side have been previously coached? Because it's often an issue that we've seen with managers coming in and often criticizing the way that Indian players are coached, or, therefore there's a lack of coaching that is there. So just wanted your take on that.
Okay, what was the first one again? Sorry, just so I get it right.
How happy are you with the squad?
No problem. How happy are you with the squad?
I'm very happy with the squad. I think we've had a bit of a turnover in terms of players going out, but players coming in as well. So there's always change. But again, I've mentioned it's about evolving and building from what's happened before. So very happy with the squad we have, both in terms of the replacements that have been brought in to replace some of those players that have left, and the excitement of the young players that have joined us. So that's the first one. In terms of your second question around coaching and Indian football, again, I'm still 4 weeks into my tenure here. I haven't been out, we're in a bubble, so I haven't had the opportunity to go out and engage in the community the way that I would have done in previous roles. And that's something that I'm looking forward to do when I get back to Mumbai. But I'm not in a space yet to feel comfortable enough to answer that question around coaching of other players, if that's okay.
Thanks, Shane. Shahid from the Indian Express.
Yeah, hi, coach. Good afternoon. One of the biggest troubles for the national team is that there are not many young players coming in up in crucial positions, the strikers, for example, mainly because that the clubs tend to use foreign players in those roles, more experienced players. So how do you address that kind of situation, since you have such a good background in training the youth? And just a follow-up to that is that, have you experienced something similar during your time in the A League as well?
Yeah, I think anywhere in any place you go to, you'll always look at areas of that you would like to strengthen. So I mean, if you use your example of forwards, for me, it's the one thing that I brought into the club in the last 4 weeks, and it's something that I brought across my time the past 10 years in terms of developing young players. It's being very clear on how we want to play, like I've mentioned already. But what we've already done with every single player here, not just the young players, but with every player, each player here now has an individual development plan. So what they've done, they've had their own input into the areas that they want to develop and where they think they need to develop. And the staff have sat with those players and also shared where they think the players need to develop in terms of how we want to play and how they fit within the system that we want to play within. Off the back of that, the players are then aware of what we're looking for. We've got a way of tracking and monitoring that both in trainings and games. And that's just whether it's the game footage, the training footage, or the physical data that we collect. And it's just a very clear way of making people aware of what they need to do and then tracking progress. And if we can see progress firstly in training, then they get the opportunities within the games. And when they get the opportunity in the games, they hopefully continue to show it there, because that's what will keep them in the team.
Thanks, Shahid. Sayan, I see your question, but I'll just come back to you in a bit. Anil from Free Press Journal.
Hi, Coach. How are you doing? Coach, just wanted to ask, how is it like, having the entire season in a bio bubble, training players? Is it something that works to your advantage, or is it something that you have to just cope with?
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, everybody would love to be back in their own beds with their families and back in the areas that they all represent. And for us, that's back in Mumbai. But we're not in a normal world at the moment. So we're in Goa, we're in a bubble. And for me, coming in as a coach, it's unfortunate not to experience India for what India is, because I experienced that very briefly in my previous time here. But what it does do in a bubble, it gives us a lot of time to spend with the players. It's a very controlled environment. It's a closed gate environment where we have all of our players, our staff and the hotel people in one bubble. And it gives us as much time as we would like off the field with the players. So we do a lot of work on the field, but to go back to the question earlier around how do we develop players, all these development plans, the time that you can spend with players and staff to help develop them on a personal level, one-to-one, becomes a huge advantage in a bubble environment. And that's one that we've certainly taken advantage of over the last 4 weeks. And I think one that will help make a massive difference to both player development and hopefully team development over the next couple of months.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anil. We come to Avinash from the INS. His question is, what's your vision for the team in the next years?
Vision for the next couple of years. First is to, again, build upon the success that this team had last year. Again, I think when you define what success is, we have 2 trophies sitting in our cabinet here, which externally are a real measure of results. But again, we've got other measures that we want to continue building upon from the playing style that we're seeing last year. So for me, the excitement around attacking football, the excitement around the brand of football that we want people to turn on the TV and watch at the moment because they can't get to the stadiums. And one of enjoyment that I can stand on the sideline and enjoy watching, and one of enjoyment where the players can actually enjoy playing with it as well. So firstly, it's making sure we can start that. And then it's to try and add value while I'm here in the time frames that I am here. And at the moment, that's long term. And to try and build this club and take it further forward than when I picked it up. And that's a saying that I take from New Zealand. You try and leave things in a better place than when you found them. And I think Sergio certainly did that with his club and where he's left it. And it's now my role to pick it up and try and advance and take it forwards. And that's something I'm really looking forward to doing.
Anand, I'll come back to you. Srivatsan from DT Next.
Good afternoon, Coach. Welcome to Indian football and India.
Thank you.
Coach, just one question. So you've had a look at the players for the last few weeks. So have you decided who would be a part of your leadership group going forward this season?
Are you asking me if I've named a captain?
Yeah, not just one captain, because a few teams have been naming more than one captain. So have you found out your leadership group?
Yeah, I'll let you all into a secret here. I'm going to give you some information now that we're not making public until 3 o'clock. So hopefully it starts us off on the right foot. So we've done a lot of work in the last 4 weeks off the field. We had a change of captain off the back of a real successful season. So we've done a lot of work with the players and involved the players in the decision-making processes because they're a huge part to what we do here. We've taken feedback from the players as well as the staff. And we will have 2 vice captains in Roland and in Mandar. And they will be led with our captain, who will be announced late this afternoon in Mutanda Fall. So that's the way that we've gone through that over the last couple of weeks. That actually took place last night, and that will be announced later today.
Thanks, Shri. Abrishmina from News 18.
Yeah, hi, Coach. I want to ask particularly that given the season that Mumbai City FC had, and then with Lobera leaving, do you see this as a rebuilding project for you, or you see it as, say, a pressure point given the pressure that comes with it being a City Group club, and also given the success that they had last season?
No, I find it an exciting one. I think often when you come in to replace a head coach, it's often because the results maybe haven't gone the way that the club would have wanted or the coach would have wanted, and you often pick a club up when results haven't gone well. The one thing that really excited me about this opportunity was to come in, and I don't see it as a rebuild. I think we have a core group of players that were here last year. we certainly have a core group of staff that were involved in the success last year. And it's to come in now, and the excitement was around adding and building from this success. You know, it's the first time last year after 7 years that we were able to secure both of the trophies that we were chasing. So it's, yeah, for me, not a rebuild. It was the excitement rather than the nervousness, and it will be again as we head into the season. The excitement of now trying to add another chapter to this story as we continue into season 8.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. We'll just come back to all the follow-ups. Shayan, he's asking if you've spoken to Sergio before or after taking over.
Right.
Yeah, I as part of the network that we have within CFG, I've been speaking with Sergio all the way back from when I started back in Melbourne. So just the connection throughout the coaches that we have at the clubs. I struck up a very good relationship with Sergio, and we were exchanging, we were communicating all the way back as far as December. Not about this role here, but just in terms of sharing ideas and trainings and wishing each other well and watching each other's games. So we've been in constant contact since December of last year, and that's continued all the way through up until this week. So we're still exchanging messages. Well, I'm hoping to schedule a call with him by the end of this week, actually. So yes is the answer to that question.
Thanks, Shayan. Come to Anand. Anand, you have a follow-up question, I believe.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, since you've gotten some time and played some preseason games with the team, if what about the team's playing structure and the general structure of the team itself, what excited you the most about the team so far, and whether there are 2-3 players who've really stood out with the way they've performed in preseason?
Yeah, preseason's always an interesting one, especially when you only get a short period. We've had 4 weeks and we've played 4 games, and I think people often look at the results of preseason to determine how you'll start the season, which hopefully most of the times isn't the case. So we've used it very much to try a few different things. We've tried a few different players in different positions, and we've tried to, like I said earlier, add to the playing style that you would have seen the team successfully have last year, because I think when there's a way of doing things that the club and the team showed last year, teams can start to become almost know what to expect from you. So it's important that we evolve and we add to that. And that's what we spent those 4 preseason games trying to do. So in terms of players that have stood out, I won't pull out any individuals because we're still working towards the game against Goa. But they've all been very positive, all been very open-minded and adapted hugely well to the changes that have happened over the last 4 weeks. And I think we're in a very good space heading into the start of the season.
Harsh from IFEWC, you have a question?
Yeah, so coach, since the last few years in the ISL, there's a trend that clubs prefer to play 2 foreign centre backs in the defense. This year, last year even Mumbai played with Santana and Paul. This year, Mumbai has just Fall in the foreign centre backs. So, can you tell us something about going in with just 1 foreign centre back this season?
Yeah, we have good Indian players that can play in those roles. We've signed young Valpuya. We've got Baul Beke who's come in as a replacement there, and they've got Mehtab, who are all very competent and capable players that can, if it's going to be a partner to Fall, can partner Fall and complement him very well, whilst also playing the way that we would like them. So it's very much more about the capability of the Indian players in those positions that I'm very happy with.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harsh. Sham.
Hi, Des. Good afternoon. Welcome to Indian football.
Hi.
Fantastic. So, like you said, you've obviously been monitoring the Indian football scene and you've seen how the ISL has progressed over the years. But there's been one trend that has remained throughout, is that no team has managed to defend its title so far.
Sham, you're not audible. Can you just be a little louder?
I'm sorry. Am I audible now?
Much better.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So I was saying, as you said, you've been monitoring the Indian football scene over the last few years, and you've also seen how the ISL has progressed, and now in its 8th season. But one trend that's remained throughout is no team has managed to defend its title so far. And now, no pressure coming in. Of course, you've got an all-star squad with you, and you've seen what kind of work that Sergio has done here. But in any sense, there's a sense of pressure creep into you at any point at all that, this is something that's historic, that's possible, as also coming off the kind of season that the club had last year.
No, I got back to. I think it's exciting. you want to be the first to do something. And Sergio was the first to lead this club to both titles last year. So again, if we can continue to build and work towards, it being a first again, whether that's progressing through Champions League to a certain point, or whether it be trying to retain one, if not both of these trophies, and that for me is an exciting task, rather than trying to work with teams that you may have to struggle to get playing. So that was the excitement around coming here. So yeah, no pressure on us. We were very clear on what we want to do, and now it's just about the players going out and expressing themselves when the season starts.
All right, thanks, coach. All the best for the season.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sham. We'll take the last few questions if there are any. If you have any questions, please put your name in the chat. Otherwise, we can. Shashwat has a question.
Yeah, good afternoon, coach again. So as a bit of a follow-up, you talked about the Indian talent at centre back in particular, and you mentioned Apuya's name. So Apuya played at Northeast United as a midfielder. So are there any plans to use him as a centre back, or what do you feel is his best position at this point in time?
Yeah, sorry, it might be my pronunciation. It was I mentioned Valpuya, not Apuya. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So I perhaps got it wrong, but the second part of the question still stays. What do you feel is his best position, and considering that he can be a very important player for the national team as well for the years to come, how impressed have you been with him?
Yeah, he's only been out of quarantine for the last 3 days, so we used him for just over 30 minutes in the last pre-season game. But I've been very impressed watching him, and I see him as one of the midfielders in the way that we play, whether that be as a holding midfield player or as a more attack-minded player. I think he has the capability and the skill set to play both of those roles. And I think as a young 21-year-old, watching him play and see the progression both of the season he had last year and captaining that side, all the way through to his national team exploits the last couple of weeks. It's a very exciting player to have, and again, will give us a different options in a very strong midfield that we do have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashwat. I see Anselm has raised his hand.
Hey, Coach. Hi, how are you doing? So basically, out of everything that you've said around here, out of all the expectations, all the excitement of leading the team and trying to defend both the titles going into the Champions League season, I'm going to ask you a very simple yes or no question. And I think that all the journalists can build their answers around it. Will it be a kind of a failure if Mumbai do not defend either of the titles?
That's a fantastic question. I wouldn't see it as I'm not going to give you a yes or no. I wouldn't see it personally a failure. No, I wouldn't see it as a failure. That's something that we're all striving towards, though. I'll be very clear on that. That's something that we, as a playing group, as a staff group, as a club, we are striving towards retaining both of those trophies. And it's about the way that we do that on the field, and as well as obviously the scores themselves. So. Yeah, I don't want to give you a yes or no, but that's hopefully enough of an answer for you.
Brilliant, Coach. I'm sorry to ask you the harsh question.
It's a very good question.
Shahid has a question, I can see.
Yeah, Coach. I'm not sure if this is a harsh question again, but just since the pandemic struck, obviously there have been a lot of players across sport, not just in football, who have suffered from mental issues because of the life in the bubble and things like that. So the players might have experienced it because they were here last year. I'm not sure if you did, because things might have been different in Australia. But how does the club handle these kind of things? What are the kind of things that the club does to just make sure things are a little easygoing, just to get their mind off, just being in the bubble?
Yeah, so we've got that. So we have the support. We've got psychological workshops and people that we can lean on here for players that do experience those types of things. And again, for me, it's a very important part to life, not just football and sport. So it's something that we have access to certainly with CFG, the support that are around the network we have there. But just to give you a bit of an idea, it was the first thing I asked of the group when I came in, my first actual meeting. I asked the players, it's not about me coming in and getting rid of everything that's gone before, because I'm here now and what's gone before isn't important. I asked them to reflect back upon what they felt had gained the success on the field last year. So I asked him what went well that we want to take with us this year that's going to be important, and what, you know, did we need to work on or we could get rid of that maybe didn't. And the overwhelming feedback on what went well last year, and I'd put a percentage of 80%, the playing group spoke about the environment and how positive the environment was, and how together as a family that they felt. And they felt that that had huge benefits to them on the field. But they also felt that that had a huge, especially being in a bubble environment, like you've mentioned. So in terms of support internally, they have that. In terms of support externally, we're able to lean on CFG and use the services there to help both players and staff if there's a need.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shahid. Again, it's last call for questions. Otherwise, we can call it time. Just give it about 30 seconds. Oh, don't see any. Okay, great. Thank you so much, guys. It's great interacting with you once again, and I hope you also had a good time meeting this media for the first time.
Yeah, no, very nice to meet you after 3 or 4 weeks, and look forward to working with you over the next few seasons, hopefully.
Great.
Cheers,
Thank you, guys. We'll see you for the pre-match press conference on the 21st. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you.